Hello, welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today, I'm lucky to be joined by David Campbell of Chernoff Newman. How's it going, David?
Going fine, thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to just start this off by understanding a little bit more about you personally, your background, and your agency.
Sure. I'll start off with our agency first. Chernoff Newman has been around in concept for 50 years. It became Chernoff Newman about 22 years ago, but it's a result of two agencies that are about 50 years old. We've been headquartered in Columbia, South Carolina. Had our roots based at one time in politics to sort of form our approach to an integrated agency. And then we went straight about 40 years ago and got out of politics and got more into corporate clients and for what have you from there. My background, like a typical person in the agency business, I majored in geology and then went from there. But actually, I ended up getting a business degree and then an MBA. And so I've approached the agency world more from the business side than going up as a creative or account service type person.
Wow. Okay, so I'm curious. I mean, did you ever work in geology at all before you went into the agency world, or that was just the major?
So I majored in it, and during my senior year is when we had a high inflationary time, and the Federal Reserve boosted rates up to 21%, and the price of oil went down a lot. So nobody needed geologists anymore. I spoke with my father, and he said, "Get a real major."
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. I feel a lot of people in marketing come from very diverse backgrounds, and marketing seems to be this industry that you like happen upon and then just stay in for lots of times. You know what I mean? It's a little different. Like a software engineer, somebody who did engineering at college will almost always go into tech or whatever it is. And then you just have all these cool, diverse backgrounds in marketing. It's really interesting.
It is.
Yeah. So Turnoff Newman focuses on creating work that's both meaningful and influential. And I guess my question is, how do you ensure that each campaign has an impact that goes beyond immediate results and contributes to lasting brand value?
Part of that is just the partnership with our clients, is to really understand what their values and goals are and ensuring that we're aligned with those. And we're proud of the type of clients that we work at. And we say that we do work that matters. And a lot of these type campaigns and things can evolve from anywhere from a lottery that helps support education for kids to go to college to drug and addiction services for certain state agencies to help people with opioid awareness or other areas like that. When you look at things like that, these type campaigns that can change lives and can have an impact on a community, you really sit down and try to dig beneath this campaign and what's the everlasting effect we're trying to get in the long run on there. And we'll
Wow.
use research at the beginning and at the end of that to see if we are trying to have that kind of impact.
Yeah, that's awesome. And brand is one of those things that just it's so ethereal, right? And it's hard to measure down a lot of times, but you guys seem to know that when it works and it's based off market feedback and kind of what everybody's saying. Is that kind of right? Like how do you guys measure, oh wow, we really created some lasting impact here?
But it can be from, if you look at like a lottery account, you can look to see how much they're able to put back into education every year. So that's one direct measurement about that. If you have other ones that may be, you measure the awareness at the beginning of the campaign, and then you start doing subsequent research on where the awareness level is going from there. And then other times it's just driven on certain direct results. Did something increase or not increase or what have you in that range?
That's awesome. And is it true along with your geology background that you also have a finance background?
I do. I do. I got a finance degree and then I majored in finance when I got my.
Nice. And I know off camera, you said you initially felt skeptical about marketing. And I guess, like, how has this unique perspective shaped your approach to the business side of agency work, especially in terms of delivering, like we just talked about, measurable value to clients?
Sure. When I was in finance, the theory behind it is that everyone takes in all information that's available and digests it and ends up processing it in a logical manner.
Yeah.
As we know, that's not true. Marketing really shows you the emotional side of how people connect to brands. And so by able to take that, what the kind of finance edge on it and understand you've got to get a return on investment for that, but also understanding how the emotional quotient about how people feel about their brands and the products that they love, what have you. You're able to sort of navigate through that to create a nice partnership.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned that your best work comes from partnerships where clients see you guys as trusted advisors. And I know that's a hard thing to foster partnerships. So, how do you foster these partnerships and gain the trust needed to bring those impactful ideas to life?
One of the things that's interesting about us as an agency, when I said integrated at the beginning, we do a lot of public relations and crisis work
Okay.
for clients. And so a lot of times you get brought in when they end up in a crisis.
Mhm.
And when the crisis is there, you've got everybody in the C suite in the room.
Mhm.
And so it's that time when it's hitting the fan that you're in there developing strategies with them. And as you navigate them through one of those crisis moments through time, you really build their trust and they know that you can then look to other segments of the work they do. So some of it starts with that, and some of it just starts to listening to them and again, understanding what makes them stay up at night and gives them heartburn. And
Yeah.
sometimes the listening standpoint, when they know that you understand their needs instead of telling you what you can do,
Yeah.
then you're able to form a partnership.
Wow. The thing I always find the most interesting about agencies who work in crisis management is their favorite clients are always the ones who are facing a crisis because there's like this problem in front of you that you can solve. And it's so much harder to work with a client that just doesn't have that crisis. And it's harder to help them. Do you kind of find that too?
Sure. I mean, when the client doesn't know they have a problem, it's, it's hard to convince them because it seems like they're selling.
Yeah.
And so when they do have a problem, they come to you, then they're slightly vulnerable. And so then they take you into their trust and you hold their hand and do what you have there. And we put our best folks on these areas. And so we've got some really senior, talented people that earn the trust and respect of those folks there. And it really builds those relationships and friendships. And we have some clients that have been with us over 30 plus years. We're not really a transactional agency.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's all relationship based. And I think that comes a lot from, well, not only like what you said, I think, it's a maxim that's true across all of life. When you put two people together through hell, they usually end up creating a bond, that lasts forever. But on top of that, you guys seem to also, over deliver on the work that you provide. And that also plays a factor in creating relationships, right?
Yes, I think if you always over deliver and under promise, then they always find out they end up getting the value and you don't argue about that. And we like to say with our clients, when we've been in the foxhole together,
Yeah.
you really come out of that with a trust and respect for one another.
Yeah, definitely. And as a fully integrated agency handling marketing, advertising, and public relations, how do you ensure that all elements of a campaign work together seamlessly to maximize influence and effectiveness?
We don't go into the campaign with an assumption.
Okay.
So we go in and try to listen what the goals and everything are, and we put those people in the room together. So we've got our media team, we've got our PR team, we've got our creative team, our strategy team, and we're listening to what the needs of the clients are and the goals are in there. And from there, we allow all sorts of ideas to bubble up. Sometimes a great creative idea may come from a PR person or a strategy from a media person or something in there. So we try not to, we allow all the voices that need to be heard to be part of the process.
Oh, I love that approach. No assumptions going in there because there's so many times when you're dealing with a company who doesn't know marketing as much as well as an agency does, it's so easy for an agency to go in there with these assumptions. Okay, we've done some research on your business and whatnot. And how is that, I guess, how is that like how do you culturally instill that into your agency to be able to say, hey, when you go into this client meeting, don't go in there with any assumptions?
I think it's just the approach we take that the first thing we have to do is listen and understand them before we
Yeah.
can do ourselves. We don't like to go in and say, so many people want to come in and say, hey, we're so, this is what we do, that we do this and this
Mhm.
without turning around and even understand that's relevant.
Yeah.
And so you just fill them up with a bunch of buzzwords and a bunch of attributes and things like that until you actually find out what's actually a benefit to them.
Mhm.
You're just spinning your wheels.
Awesome. And with experience across both the creative and business aspects of marketing, what advice would you give to other agencies striving to balance these sometimes opposing forces?
I think that they can work together. I mean, the beauty of it is when you take the creative side and the wild creative side with the marketing side in there, that's when you can really create good magic if you allow those two to work together toward the same goals. If not, then you can have something that's lopsided in one area. So this is great creative, but is it effective? Am I
Yeah.
getting an ROI for it? Or am I getting an ROI, but it's not building the long-term brand of the company? So you've
Yeah.
got to have both that kind of work symbiotically.
Yeah, definitely. And it's you see that a lot, I think, with between if a creative agency works with a like a media buying agency, so you start to see those forces. It's kind of the same. I mean, I come from the sales world of the agency side and you kind of see that same thing, sales versus marketing, right? Like marketing's, hey, you're not closing the leads, and sales, you're not bringing me good enough leads. And so it's that kind of same thing, right? Hey, you're not bringing me good creative, but it's producing an ROI. And so there's this opposite force. And I think you're right. And I think it goes back to that coming in with no assumptions and just letting ideas flow and testing, right?
Yep. And we don't divide them into departments. We have creative teams and we have account service teams and we have
Yeah.
marketing teams, but they're teammates together
Mhm.
working for those clients. So we don't sort of pit one against the other.
Yeah, that's awesome. And given that Chernoff Newman's comprehensive approach, how do you guys view collaboration with other specialized agencies or experts as a part of delivering fully integrated experience for your clients?
A lot of times we work as the AOR and a lot of times with the sole agency, but when we are brought in, we work very collaboratively with them. And we also make sure that the other partner is always the client in the room. So it's not something we go off without them being involved. So
Right.
if you work with another agency and you have the client input and gathering in there, so they're sold off on it, you're not trying to best each other or anything like that, and becomes much more collaborative. And you've discussed whose lane is what at the beginning.
Mhm.
So you set the expectations from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned that a little bit earlier. Turnoff Human has its roots in political campaigns and in doing that type of stuff. And so I know that's kind of influenced the integrated approach you guys take. I was just curious. I mean, could you share more about how navigating political factors has shaped your strategy and the advice that you guys provide clients?
Sure. A couple things. One is if you think about a candidate as a brand, you build a brand around a candidate. Then you're going to market that brand. And you're gonna have a media strategy behind it, and you're gonna have PR behind it. And sometimes you always have prices behind it.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have all that working together. You have message testing. This worked this week is not working this week. It's not testing well. So it also allows us to build an agility and mobility that we can quickly move and be nimble in working for our clients, which is helpful. So it's kind of like that war room mentality where we're all have everybody in there saying, what about this? What about this? And that way, if something this affects this side or that side, you can kind of work it all out in there. And we think it brings a pretty agile approach to our clients where they know we can get it done and we can know that we can move at a moment's notice if we have to switch strategies.
I love that. And it's one of the things that I feel like gets harder to do the bigger of an agency that you guys become, right? Or any agency becomes. And it's cool that you guys are still able to stay nimble and adaptable, flexible to clients' needs and move quickly. David, this has been awesome. It's really nice to talk to an agency that's been around the time that you have. You don't see too many agencies around for that long, which is really cool. So, where can people find out more about you, and where can people find out more about your agency?
Great. Our website is chernoffnewman.com. So
Okay.
that's pretty easy. My name's David Campbell. I'm on LinkedIn at David R. Campbell or David Richard Campbell and Twitter, David R. Campbell, or find me on our website.
Awesome. Cool. And I'll have everything linked in the show notes below to make it easy for anybody to go to the website or David's socials. Thank you again so much for being on. This was very enlightening.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Thanks.